This program is slow, but we're
Hmm.
reach the page. We're waiting a few Eastern for people, and then we go.
What a wonderful thing to be able to talk to each other with videos and everything else, technology, and
That's
stay in contact, you know?
yeah, we can say that is a great thing, and I think that's in the future, even in term of training, is going to be is going to be one option because it's all the
Yeah.
restrictions, and we start to do the web academy uh,
Hmm.
to do webinars and all the stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, but
All right.
come on, guys, come
All
on,
right. Let me
here
my
with.
page here.
Now I'm going to introduce the big guest we have. Last day, but we have really a special guest that is not only a brother, he's a superstar. And yeah, a lot of stories we have.
A
So
lot of good stories.
here we go, guys. Welcome. This is the last day of TAC Week. I'm really tired because I did like 20 lives in 7 days,
Wow.
51 videos, 39 pictures, and so the idea for because many they didn't understand at the beginning what was going on in the page because normally are lazy and they don't read the captions or they don't pay enough attention in the videos. Now I introduce you. It's just to open. So during this week, we had a lot of uploading commercial stuff, commercial pictures, commercial videos for you, not for me, because I gave you the chance to see uh, which were the news from some top level companies in the world in different field of applications. Because SHOT Show and IWA are in shutdown for COVID restrictions. So the idea was to provide you commercial contents, as you can see, for free in your house, watching knife, watching firearms, watching equipment, doing review by me that normally I don't do review, and all this stuff. So when you say, "Hey, why so commercial?" Yeah, why you don't read the caption inside? Anyway, we are going to talk tomorrow. I'm going to slap your. I can't say now, but now, guys, for the last day, I have here really a special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, I have here Mr. Doc Marcaida.
Well,
That is a super guest and a super friend. And I'm very happy because I have also the chance to see him again, to talk with him, to discuss us the old good days when we were around the world. And so, Doc, welcome here.
good to be here. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. We
Good.
are talking as we were talking before the live a little bit
Hmm.
with Doug, and yes, guys, this situation is pretty tough situation, but we need to adapt and we need to overcome anyway. So whatever there is going to be the future, we need to be uh, resilient and we need to adapt and overcome what we are going to find.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
congratulations on doing this TAC week. I think it's with the way things are with our limitations and lockdowns and everything else. Having something like this is very important because you can still communicate with people despite not being able to travel. You know, so that's a great thing that you're doing.
thank you very much. Yeah, we received a lot of messages for appreciation from the comment from the followers. We reached 25,000 in of new followers and subscribers, and I think, but sometimes it's it's funny because you can have a video with where there is a brand or the name of the model of the firearm and the brand of the firearm, and then they ask you if it's complete and other things and say, but this, which is the
Nobody
problem.
likes to read.
Watching a simple video and reading the caption where is, I don't know, Maprolite, or that's people because sometimes are lazy. They don't read the captions, or they ask me, "Oh, why is so commercial?" Yeah, maybe because there is an event. It's like you go in Shotter and say, "Why there is so many
So
booths?
many
It's so
brands.
commercial." Maybe because it's an event that is a commercial event, but this is normal with people. So we have 40 comments. I didn't open the comments. My fault, guys. Let me see very fast. Let me greet people. Did you receive the link from?
Yes, I did. I put it on my page.
Okay. Andrea dos Santos, sarà un piacere vedere dois icones. Thank you, Andre. And hi, Dagai Zero. And then here, ciao Simone, Chris Lee from UK. Good evening, brother, and Mr. Marcaida. And now we start. Dagai, just Mark. It will kill, yeah, Mark. As a Kali participant and so dear, you guys are my heroes. Keep up the good work. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Brian. And a lot of good comments. I missed it. I opened with like 50 comments already, so it's impossible. After I'm going to Andy again from UK, Mika, not going to miss this one. Two greats right here. What's up from Nashville, Tennessee? By the way, a beautiful place
Hmm.
where I was. So, Doug, first of all, many people maybe they don't know how long is our friendship, how old is our friendship. They don't know how many things we
What
did
we've done.
uh,
Yep.
with Paolo, with Gian at the beginning, in a gym, in a shooting range, in Canada, in Italy, in United States. We did really a lot of stuff, and for me it was really a pleasure and an honor to work with such a professional like you are.
Oh,
And
this goes back to our Funker Tactical days when we first met in Toronto. You were, I just joined Funker Tactical because they were talking about the knife guy, but I was always looking at your videos. I'm like, holy smokes, have you seen this guy? This guy's amazing. But what I loved about it was your passion, the way you talked about it, the way you explained things. I go, this guy loves what he does. And then when you see what he is able to do with passion, that's amazing. That's why it was a blessing to really get to know you and at least share the team concept of inspiring and sharing our ideas. And the funny part was on our first, because now I got a chat. When you asked me to do this, I went back with the old videos. I started posting them. I remember those days. And just like magic, the first time we met, automatically GN goes, no, let's put a question there about knife versus. I'm like, what? We're gonna do this? I'm like, I don't know this guy, So I'm like, you did Mr. Zero, and he's like, I have to attack him now with a knife. I'm like, this guy shoots, So it was interesting. Lots of mutual respect for each other, but the ideas that came out about it were really unique, and a lot of people still use those videos to demonstrate what it is about the 21-foot rule, the distancing there,
yeah,
from a point of view from somebody who knows what they're doing with a gun. That's the difference.
I you know what it's what was for me was great was that, for example, when we start the work, uh, after a few minutes, for me was like we were working for a while together. Even it was the first time, but everything was so natural in terms of discussion, in terms of different point of view. And one thing that I want to clarify, because a lot of people, I think that those videos, they still growing a lot because the people they still looking at that video, but some of the people they misunderstand which was the real meaning and or the goal of that kind of video
Hmm.
wasn't to show techniques in terms of how you need to do, was a research of what can happen if a knife professional knife fighter could match with someone that works with a firearm. So wasn't to show people how you need to do it, but was, okay, this is a situation, what can happen now? So if that do this or does this, or I can react, which could be the reaction. And do you remember how many times we failed, how many times
Hmm.
I got stabbed by you from distance, and we said, listen, we need to try to do it because it's hard. We know that we were in the gym, and it's not the same thing as on the street. That's
Hmm.
actually that's the problem of this kind of drill in terms of the 20 21 feet rules, because anyway, every time you're going to train, you are going to know that you're going to react. So just this base is not a real base, because
Hmm.
the big hit there is the surprise, because you're going to be projected in a critical event in a frame of seconds where you need to react. So when you know that you're going to react, it's always easier. So
Different
it's
because you're
hard.
ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I love about that is we weren't coming up with techniques. We were coming up with a question and answer from our educated backgrounds. I already know this. Now, if we try it, okay, what can I learn from it? And that's what I want. I like that. What is in your mind? I know what I'm going to do, and we both know what we're about to do, but we try to explore the different possibilities. And that to me is a great way to really learn, because we're learning on our experiences, and then now I get to dig in from what's in your mind, because I know I can learn more because I never thought of it that way. For example,
Yeah,
I
sure. For me too.
always, when we were doing that, I always knew to step offline, movement and everything else. I never thought to change direction by dropping to the ground. So that gives me a different way of also thinking about changing levels. Now I have to go down because you just create the distance by using levels as opposed to just moving around. So that was a learning experience for me too. The more we exchange ideas with people, the more you're able to learn more. You learn more about what you don't know.
Yeah, and you know what? That, for example, that option to go on the ground to change the level, the plane of the engage, came exactly after I got stabbed by you multiple times from different kind of angles. We tested, we tried to move on the left, move on the right, to step fast, to run, but the distance was so short because we decided to. You remember in term of, because 7 meters or 25,
Hmm.
21 feet. Uh, we said, okay, we know that we are going to react, so we need to do something harder. We need to try to make it harder to compensate. So we started with the shorter distance, like 3 yards,
Yeah,
4 yards. That's even if you know that you are going to react, is you don't have
it's
time
different. Yeah.
because the distance is so close. And so I start to be stabbed by you multiple times. I got stabbed, and we tested and say, okay, doesn't work in this way, doesn't work in this other way. So what I can do, because
Hmm.
it's I can't step on the ladder, I can't fly, I can't become invisible. So if I don't go straight on the knife to working on the thread in that way, that's another chapter. But there was to analyze the movement. And from that point, we arrived to say, okay, why we don't change the plane of the engage? And we change the plane of the attack, right? Instead to try to run or to move, that I'm going to be stabbed anyway. And we put down our vital organs, and we have the legs between the thread and us. It's one option.
Yeah.
That is the only
One of
one.
the many, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. There's so many different options. So people who are watching it shouldn't see, if you see one technique, that's not the only answer. It's one that we're talking about for today. But there are so many options. And even despite what we're showing, it's going to stimulate somebody's idea to go, I wonder, I know something from my system that if you're going to attack that way, I'm going to try it. So they go to back to class, they try different things. And that's the beauty of the inspiration when you have two people meet who are very passionate about what they want, but they exchange ideas. That's one of, at least that was my purpose of being with Funker Tactical, was to inspire people and engage them to say, try it this way, think this way. Now, my truth, that's all I know. Of course, I don't know everything, but I like to tell people this is mine. What works for me may not work for you. We're different. But sometimes if I put an idea into your head, you can mix it with what you already know, and you can test it against what you know. You know?
Yeah, I'm totally agree with you. But think about the advantages you can have when you start to share informations with different specialists from different field of applications, with knife, hand to hand, with you can combine. It's like a think tank of tactical, right? Or
Hmm.
for but you need to mix it also for real life, because we have always all of us we have the same problem. We train in a kind of environment that and we apply in a kind of environment that's completely different, because the gym or the shooting range where we train, so our training environments are totally different than the street, than the real environment. And this is a huge problem. It's a common problem for everybody here. So we need to understand how we can translate our training in the real context to be effective in the in the real context, training in a kind of environment that is totally different, moving and using techniques that are totally different. And this is especially in firearms. So the huge opportunity that we had to share information, this is where you grow. This is where you can find solutions, right? And this
Yeah.
is what I always say, because I always say they created martial arts 1,000 years ago. And from that moment, arriving now, we did nothing. We didn't
Mhm.
create anything more in terms of martial art. All the old martial arts, they still there. We just adapt on that. One things are the styles, one things are the hearts in terms of really martial. And they created
Mhm.
the martial arts in compared to the to now or today. We have more knowledge, more sources, more experience, more. We have a really whatever we need, but
Mhm.
we still in the same position. We still adapting on what they did thousand
Well,
years
that's why we're talking to the idea there's martial, there's tactical. So, martial arts, let's say my Filipino martial arts, we're training. Usually we go, we do a calisthenics, and we start doing our training. When we train, we start off with, okay, we pull a blade. Here's my blade. Okay, so we do the drills with the blade. Wait. So you're doing the drills with the blade, you're doing the drills with the draw. Where did you get the blade? Where did you get the stick? How is it that you're standing in front of another person with another weapon? Where's all that? Because in class, automatically happens. The tactical mindset is how did you draw the blade? How did you conceal it? So when I started with Funker and I started, hanging around with you, I started to notice how you conceal your weapon, how you draw your weapon. So in the tactical mindset, it's not just because in martial arts you show up in the dojo and you train in the dojo. Nobody fights in the dojo. You fight
ago.
outside in the street, right?
Yes,
So you're wearing nice, comfortable clothes. Or where'd you get your weapon? In a stick bag, in your gym bag? No, you don't carry a gym bag in the street. You have to have it on you. So when I started working with you, I started to realize I need to practice my draw, different ways of concealment of the weapon, so that when I see you conceal and I see the way you draw, I can now look at people and saying, that's how it's probably concealed. And how is that person going to get to his weapon? And how am I going to stop him from getting to the weapon? Or how fast can I get to my weapon before he gets to his weapon? That took the martial into the tactical.
yeah,
Very
and
interesting.
twice the same process. One of, in my opinion, one of the biggest mistake that we are doing as a trainers on the firearm side are two. One is the fact that we continues to pretend to explain, especially in the civilian side, how to manage a gunfight instead to teach them how to explain them how to avoid the problem, how to avoid the gunfight, because the only gunfight that you are sure to win is the gunfight that you avoid. If you're able to avoid the
Absolutely.
gunfight, you already win your gunfight. You already won
Mhm.
your gunfight. So that's the only certainty you have, because you don't have. You could be the fastest shooter in the universe, but that day for Marfilo, whatever, because shit happens. Maybe that day you did 10,000 draws just that years, and everyone was perfect. And that day you grab your T-shirt or your shirt while
Mhm.
you're throwing your firearm, or you just slick and you fall down. You can't know this. So first point must be to prevent, to create a mindset that is able to prevent the condition where you have the problem. And one of the things is exactly how you carry your firearm, because you spend years carrying your firearms and maybe hope never, but maybe 5 seconds using them. But if you carry in the wrong way, that is another big issue, because you
Mhm.
can generate the problem just because people, they can see your print of the firearms. In some places this is enough to be attacked or to be killed for that. So we need to teach them how to avoid and how to carry, not just the draw, because that is the last part. It's a transition between carry and application. And
Mhm.
I remember, there is a question. Sorry, from Scott Pitts. Will the plan of escape be a part of your tactics or mindset?
It's the first plan that you practice. You learn how to not be part of it, because a target that's not there is not a target. You cannot stab me if I'm not there. You can't shoot at me if I'm not there. So the first thing is you remove yourself from a situation. How do you do that? Like I said, in martial arts, we come in, we do technique, we do this, we attack with a knife, we stab, and maybe we have a defense, maybe. The main thing is in Filipino martial arts, we learn the offense. We learn how to be offensive with a weapon first, because weapons are made for destruction, not for defending. Once you learn the offense, then you can create a defense that is realistic. Because I go, well, some people, they only train self-defense. The guy will never attack you that way. A person who knows how to use a knife will do it this way. So now that you know the offense, you create a defense that is based on honesty. Now, when you still look at all of this, like you said, no matter what, if I do 10,000 techniques today, maybe 10,001 is the wrong one. So when you realize how dangerous what you're doing, you start to create the escape as the first thing. I don't want to be in a fight to begin with. You see, in a lot of martial arts, we're always in the middle. We show up, when we train, we're sparring, we're right in the middle right away, techniques right away. That's the middle. What about the before? The before should be more important than sometimes the middle. So we create the middle part to this is what attacks, this is how you counter and everything else. But this is so dangerous that later on we have to think about the before. Awareness is from the training. Prevention is what we do in the beginning. That's your escape. But what's more important also is the before, the during, and the after. A lot
Yeah,
of us do not prepare ourselves for the after. What do you mean by the after? For every action you do, there's a consequence. If you defend yourself with a weapon, there's a consequence to that. Right or wrong, live or die, there's a consequence to that too. Whether it's legal, whether it's physical, whether it's death. And it's not only the death of your opponent, what's going to happen to your life when
yeah,
you have to do something like
true.
this, you know? And we're not just talking about the loss of life and what about mentally, physically, emotionally? So there's a lot that goes on with this, that when we try to train, we want to give them the results of the before, the during, and the after. People don't know how to talk themselves out of a fight. You know, they know how to get into a fight, but they don't know how to talk out, how to review, how to prevent it. So by training and learning this process, you will learn how to create prevention because you're aware. Just like diseases, right? We got to study
I'm
the
totally
disease to create
agree
a
with I'm,
solution.
I'm totally agree with this. And not only, I think that in this industry there are tons of false informations. Part of them false information are they created voluntary because are advertisement. So you can sell more courses. But we need to be honest with people in terms of especially on the civilian side. So we need to understand what, and we need to the best way. Even what I can advise to any civilian or any people that anyone that want to carry a firearms in a daily life is to apply logic, not not only in the daily life, but before in terms of training. Okay, so we train inside a shooting range, but we know that the shooting range is completely different than the real environments because the shooting ranges normally are flat. Real environments, no. The shooting range, they have the ballistic environment is heterogeneous. But the real context in 10 yards, if you're walking down the street for 10 yards, 15 yards, you can have multiple ballistic environments. What means that I could have vehicles, I can have people, crowd, or walls, or whatever. Something that I don't have on a shooting range. But there is another point. Whatever is the drill that I'm going to run on the shooting range, I'm going to shoot for first. I'm going to move for first, and I'm going to be the only one that is going to shoot. And this is normal because it's training. If someone else is going to reply, it's going to call gunfight and not any more training. But I need to analyze this because probably on the real environment, probably if I'm going to be involved in a critical event, in the base of the fact that if I respect the laws, I can use firearms to defend myself. So the word defense or defense means that someone else is already acting against us in terms
Mhm.
of offensive action. So this is define our starting point. That probably is going to be for second. I'm going to start in reaction and not in action. But the point is that action is faster than reaction. So I need to solve another problem like this. And another thing is when I am in the range, If I miss, I can repeat. I can do
Mhm.
multiple times the action. In real life, whatever I'm going to do, I'm going must be good the first. And I'm going to act under the highest level of stress, something that I never had in training, even if I work in a stress inoculation. Why? Because in training, I don't have fear of that. I know that nothing that if you are moved in the proper way without break the safety rules, if you keep it the safety rules at the first point, nothing's going to happen on training. So what happened in the real life, you start to understand that you are competing for your life or for the life of someone else near you, and that's is something that can change completely the situation. And this is if we want to be real. Because if we want to continue to tell that you can manage a gunfire, you can draw the gun and recreate a real scenario. What means real scenario? There are tons of trillions of billions of parameters and variables in the real scenario. You can't recreate nothing except if you have a specific scenario that you need to repeat or some general principles in terms of real scenario. But every time I heard the word real related with the firearms and training, I'm always scared because sometimes could be worse than train the general principles. Understand? I don't
No,
want
yeah. No, I
to
agree 100%. And that's a very important term that people need to see the difference. Scenario. Scenario means we create the situation. We probably have the answers to a question that's happening to us, but it's a scenario. And not everybody's scenario is going to be the same. Some people go, I train for this and everything. It's like, you don't live in a jungle. You live in the urban areas. Or I train for this and I have all this. You're not allowed to carry that kind of weapon in your scenario in where you are. So you train for the environment, but you train in other ways. But the word scenario also allows you to create questions that you may never face, but you have an answer. When I first trained with the unit, you were in the Philippines with the Force Recon Marines. The commander. Now, for them in that particular group, unless you've killed or been in action, you cannot be part of that group. So when the commander asked me to come train them the knife, I was very nervous. I'm like, I have not killed. Your guys are all killers. But he goes, Doug, you have the ability to take your mind to places where others have not gone. And where the mind doesn't go, the body will not follow. So if it's bullshit, trust me, I will test you. But we see your moves. So he goes, we want your skill, Doug, because killing is a matter of opportunity. You don't need all the skill to kill. Human body is very frail and very easy. But who says that if faced with a situation, the skill we get from you makes us do our job faster and better? So I got to do it to train, and that's very true because I have answers by putting our mindset in a situation that we will never face. But if it ever happens, I've been there before. What's the difference of your memory from yesterday's training to an idea you had in your mind? We can't really verify that, but we know it's in here. So that ability to take your mind to places so that your body will follow if you're ever there is a scenario based training.
Yeah, and you said another thing is I'm totally agree, and it's sometimes it's what people they don't understand. It's for example how many different subjects when you train with units or you work with professionals in different kind of scenarios in different kind of environments where they are professional where they are top level in that kind of environment. So it's not there, you can't go there and say, hey guys, now I explain you how it's the game, because they are going to kick your ass immediately, right? Because you must be humble. So we need to understand when we work outside. I always try to understand first what I can do, what I can give, what I can share, what I need to modify. But normally what I do is I push from a subjective position to an objective position using numbers, using the simple math or the logic, because logic is accepted. So if there is another option that could work better than the one that or procedures that better than the one that they're using, I'm going to show them. And then I want that they are going to test so we have the same end user that apply two different options, right? And then they can decide in the base of the result, in the base of the data. Because another things that we need to analyze are statistics, are the data. This is not something that we can, it's not an opinion, it's a science, because we can have a lot of informations in terms of uh, everything we do in terms of ballistic, in terms of options, in terms of techniques, in terms of firearms, calibers. We have tons of parameters, but we need to test. We need to verify. We need to use real information, real data. And when I'm talking about data, we need to understand which kind of environment, because every environment is different. Something that works in the United States maybe can't work, or sure can't work in Southeast Asia or in Brazil. Same process for Europe with different laws, different environments, different social dynamics. So you can't apply the same thing. And people continues to fight in internet about which is the best technique. You can. It's important that we do different things, because if we do everyone does the same things, we never grow anymore. We become and so it's normal, but you can have multiple techniques based on the same principle. If the principle
Mhm.
is correct, then every different trainer could interpret it in the base of the proper experience, or in terms of filter that is going to apply in different way. But doesn't mean that one is wrong and one is right,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it's based on the same principle. But you remember when we were on the range,
Hmm.
we start to work on draw, and you were drawing the knife and stabbing the balloon, and I said, wow, that was one of the hardest things I did, to try to stay on your speed was
They know that my part is easy. I got 0 to 5 meters in front of me. I just need to reach out and touch. That's all I need to do and be relaxed. Your part, you've got a mechanical thing in your hand. It's got me firing from a distance. The fact that you even matched my speed, that's impressive. Because for me, it's just a matter of touch. That's it. You know, right? Stab, stab. That's it. But for you to have a firearm, turn around and everything, to be able to ride on spot, that is more impressive. And that's the difference, that you can still have the speed, but you're shooting something far away. Mine is just in front of me, so my
yeah,
part was
that
easy. But it
was
was nice to see, to explore stuff like that. you know um and that's going back to what you said about, it's important to really understand, it's a principle that matters. There are thousands of variations to get to the same spot, but every variation that you pick will teach you something new. And the reason why there's so many variations is because everybody is an individual.
yeah.
Just because I give you my techniques doesn't mean that you're going to be able to pull it off. You're different. You could be taller, shorter, have different age, what's your physicality, and all these things. So when you have that, and you be honest with yourself, that's a great technique, but I can't make it work. I can make it work with this. That's why I stopped forcing or saying what's right or wrong. I only say, this is what works for me. See if it can work for you. That's it.
Okay. Makes sense. Totally, but I was sure. I know you very well, so I'm sure I agree with you, because
Oh, I want to share with everybody there. Z right here is one hell of a chef. Okay,
that's the part
he
that
can
was
cook.
I
Oh my
was
gosh.
right now. So one time we were in our kitchen, in my kitchen, my house, and Zach was here, and I was cooking a meat that with a really old recipe that was from 1800, and we started talking, and we uploading a picture with me that I was dressing like a chef, and cooking with that picture made a lot of people, they say, so you are a chef, you are a cooker. I said, no,
After this, I'll repost
that's
that video. I think I know where that video is. I gotta repost that. There's a lot of good times, especially because all day we were on the range, and at night we can relax and think about the stuff. These were really good times. See, I mean, we were there. It's where we come from, and I really look back, whether with working with GN. I mean, the filmography, the camaraderie, and that's, I think, more important too, is that feeling that we're a team, the feel that we're going different places. And then look, what, 8 years, 9 years later,
yeah,
where are we? I've
more or less.
evolved into something
Those
different.
10
See,
years, yeah.
I look at you and I envy where you are, because I'm no longer an operator. I mean, when I was in work in a hospital, but at the same time on weekends I do seminars around the world and I do workshops and everything for different units. I did that all. Then finally, when I transferred to the media, I don't have time to do that anymore. I'm not sharp anymore, and it's hard to accept that. It's hard to accept, but I'm good with it now because this is where I am now. Instead of when I was in the medical field, there's a thing that I loved about it because I worked in the emergency room as a respiratory therapist. That healing touch. When somebody can't breathe, they come in and you do whatever you can. Next thing you know, they're breathing. You put a machine or whatever, but there's that immediate gratification. I lost that when I switched to media. But then I found that in my morning coffee talks, I'm able to reach out to people with positive messages and they get the same feeling. But the tactical side of training and everything else, I don't do that anymore. I don't have time. But I do a lot of kill tests. I mean, I get to bring these kind of things home and I do a lot of, so what's happened now is instead of having the
You
idea of
kill.
knowing how to kill that way, I've learned different ways of cutting, stabbing, slashing, all the different ideas of that come with it, the history of weapons. That's what Forged in Fire does, but I'm not an operator anymore. And that was very hard for me to come to terms with, you
In
know.
this season, Dag, in this season, you are working in another field, but it's a season.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow we come back again on the field, and we are going to do amazing things. I don't
Well,
know.
with a lot of things that's happening now, media, because now being in media, I've learned, I met a lot of producers, a lot of production companies, and that's where it is. I think now is the time to where if I can't operate, then at least I can educate. So
Yeah,
my next piece now is to start putting on like you're doing you're doing your online academy. I'm doing the same thing. I started off with my first series, now the next series. Now I'm going back and I'm digging up all my old videos from 1990 when I first started and digging all those and converting them and start putting it out there because we're getting older and I don't want all. I've been blessed to travel, like meet people like you, experience so many things. Now it's time to get all this and give it and leave it behind. We got to have a way to just leave it behind. That's where we're on media. I think when I finally accepted that I no longer am operating, I'm just on the media, a different evolution. I go, what am I going to tell God when I meet him? A Kali demo? He'll say, I gave you the gift of media. What are you going to do? Do something, educate, share your experiences. And that's, I think, where we are right now by putting everything on video and putting it out there for people. That's my legacy. Start sharing it, start getting rid of it because I'm not taking it anywhere with me. And I think that's what you're doing
yeah,
too.
yeah. I mean that you know what? It's in my life. I had really different seasons in the past when I started as with my plane A on the military on the Airborne Brigade, then I had my injury, so plane B and all the stuff. Different season, right?
Hmm.
But I always think that there is a season for everything, and this is why, for example, I don't want to be stuck on training courses just on the civilian side because in a few years I'm cooked like zucchini. I mean, I don't have any more the chance to grow in terms of training because since I start or since I continues to train with units, it's knowledge is something that uh, goes in two ways. So it's and to be honest, probably it's more what I learned than what I teach. But it's a huge opportunity. Now I arrive at Mr. COVID, and it's so I'm stuck anyway, and this is something
You know
that
what I would love to get from you, and it's something that you might consider, is your thoughts on the principles of what you do. So, what do I mean by that? It's not about why you shoot so fast, how you shoot. You know, it's not the technique, all this. What
yeah.
made you think of it that way? What drives you, instructor zero, to want to always be better than where you were a second ago? Why is it so important for you to be faster all the time or to be very accurate? What is it in your mindset that's saying, okay, I can do better? Because I think that principle is a gift that you can give everybody that can just take it and they can apply it to whatever they're doing. I want to be a faster. I want to be a faster chef. I want to be a faster. You know what's because I'm always trying to be better, and that is common to everybody. and I want to see what drives you. What is your fuel? What do you do to get to where you are? Because in many ways, a lot of people think, looking at what you're able to doing, that's a high level. How did you get there? Not the technique, the principles. What kept you going? Because that's everybody can do. Because then they don't have to be a shooter. They don't have to be a firearms guy,
Well,
but they can be an instructor zero based on whatever they're doing.
yeah, you know what? I think it's that sensation, that feeling you have every morning when you wake up. To try to be better than the day before, right? Or it's not about you're right. It's every time I say I can do better than this, even if I just made my best time or whatever. It's not that. The principle, in my opinion, is if you need to do something, do it at your best. Why you need to arrive to say, okay, it's enough. If you can do more than that, be a professional, whatever is your job. If whatever, if you are, do you know how many, for example, police officer, I did a seminar a few days ago, and I said, damn, you have two choices. But remember, it doesn't matter the rank or the uniform or the qualifications. What is going to define who you are is the decision that you take, the small decision, the big decision, the decisions that the choices that you are going to do every day, day by day. That is going to define you. So don't be, how you said, mediocre,
Mediocre.
mediocre. Be a professional. How you can afford the next 20 years of your job with kind of mindset where for you is enough to be mediocre.
Hmm.
It's something that kill myself.
So
I want
there's
to.
there's my question with what you're saying. So why? So you're saying every day I want to be better than where I was yesterday. I want to be a professional. Why? Why do you want to be better than you're already good, but why do you want to be better than that? Why do you want to be a professional? Why do you not want to be with mediocre? These are the things that I want to know, because when you are able to answer that, now I understand. You can tell me, but I'll ask you, Z, why can't you? What's wrong with mediocre? Why do you have to be the best?
Because not the best in term of genre, but the best for you. The
Hmm.
best, because if I can give 100, why I need to give 60 and stop there? So if I start to have this kind of mindset, it's a kind of mindset that before or later is going to be the mindset of the loser, because today is 60, tomorrow is 50, 45, 35. Then you don't live anymore. You just enough to survive. But you need, life is so short, it's so fast. You need to live. You don't need to survive. Understand what I
Hmm.
mean? I don't know
Yeah,
if
absolutely. And that's exactly what I want people here to see.
whatever
Why?
is.
How? We're a certain type of personality. We're type A personalities that always want this, and it's an integrity thing, because you see, once you start doing well today, I don't feel well. I'll do 60 instead of 100. Tomorrow's 40, like you said, 70, sometimes 100. So now you compromised yourself. You compromise. Now you saying I'm always making a deal, so that becomes a habit. Now you never give your 100%, because now I can do 50, I can do 40 and everything. And that kind of mindset is not going to get you to where people like Instructor Zero is. And that's what I want to, what drives people.
I want to watch my face on the mirror and say, do you know how many times this happens that where I watch myself on the mirror and say, doesn't work like this, my man. You didn't 100%. You are not doing your best now. You can do better than this. Not all in training, in terms of life, in terms of as a
Yeah.
father, as a husband, or whatever. It's something that's it's I need to match with myself. I need to be good with me
Yeah.
first. I need to be. I need to go to sleep. That I said, listen, I'm tired because yes, probably I can do better than this, but today I'm really tired because I really working hard or I did really
Hmm.
the maximum. That's just what. That's for me. Maybe it's a kind of it's just my point. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
that's a good point. You know, I as we grow, when they always say, you have to look at the man in the mirror, and what is that man telling you? One thing I've learned to do now, because as we grow older, different things change. I always tell myself, know who you are, and know to say, that's not who I am.
Yeah.
Because now what happens is, when you're doing this, we, like at least me, as a very creative person, as a person who loves to create things and do stuff, I try to do everything. I try to do so many different things, but I never think about the things that I want to try. That sometimes if I go this way or I do that, it creates problems for my family, my timing, and it brings me to people that I don't want to be around. So I have to say now, that's not who I am. Let's go to the bar and drink and all this. Like, that's not who I am anymore. My body doesn't do processes with alcohol, and being in that area has, well, obviously with the COVID now, but I don't put myself in situations anymore because I've learned to know that's not who I am. And to do that, you have to really sit down and look at yourself and find out, what am I don't want to be a bad guy. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that and everything else. So every time I look in the mirror and I go, I have to look at my list. Oh, I can't, because if I did this now, that goes against who I'm not. And it's a constant thing that I'm trying to do nowadays, to be honest with myself.
Yeah, it's one thing is that I always when I do the training courses, I used to start explaining who I am, not in term of my all in term of my background or my experience. It's not one thing that I hate. It's a self accomplishment in term of when you present yourself like I am. No, and people, they don't pay you to have stories, they pay you to share information, technical information. So it's important that they know which is the mindset you have
Hmm.
as a trainer, which is the approach or the point of view of the material or how you are going to teach, because so they can avoid you next time when they say, hey, I want to do a course. Oh, no, no, I don't want to go to zero. I'm going for another training. That's good for me. But what is
Yeah.
important that you know me. How is my mindset?
It's
And
very important too, so they appreciate you, because they know when you come to an Instructor Zero's course, it's not about the money, it's not about the time, it's what you're gonna get from it. If it takes 10 hours to do this and we're only paid for 4, we're gonna be here for 10 hours.
that's
Because that's who
that's
you
like
are.
we said this a couple of days ago about the training courses. Yeah, that's a different way. Everyone has a different way. But I always say to the students, especially to the enforcement, that I'm going to be your guide, and I'm going to drive you in different places. But at the end of the corridor, I'm going to open a window. So, and you're going to be able to see outside that window. And if you like what you're seeing, then maybe you can find your path or your next goal, or maybe you can't. You don't like what you see outside, but you are going to close that window. I don't close.
Mhm.
But and then again, I always say that you're going to find this kind of windows every day in your life, in your job. And it's up to you to open or close. But at the end of the day, is what is going to define you. How many windows you have closed or how many windows you have open in terms of, and again, uh, you said one thing that's it's really it's really I love it. I want to educate.
Mhm. Yep. That's definitely it. And I think that's what drives you. And that's where your integrity is, because you want to educate. You don't care about the time. You don't care about, I think by presenting yourself in the beginning, this is who I am and this is what you can expect from my course, then there's no surprise. Because some people go through a course just wanting techniques. No, you're going to learn it the right way, or at least my way, and then they know what to expect, and that's important. That's your integrity in teaching, by letting know this is what you can expect from me. Now, this is what I expect from you as a student also. You need to
Yeah,
pay attention, you need to be respectful with each other. We have to follow the safety rules. We have to do this, but I will also tell you what I expect from you. So then, when both sides know what to be expected, that makes a great training course.
yeah. Even because it's exactly what I normally say. I give you my under 10%. I don't want from you less than this, because
Hmm.
here it doesn't work. It's not. We are not in democracy, right? You are
Hmm.
just joining a course. I'm going to tell you how to do things.
Yeah,
Period.
a student doesn't go to school to argue with a teacher. It doesn't work
Just
that
give
way.
me a paper and pen. That's the only two tools. Do you know how many times I have seen, or they arrived at, I remember one guy, I was in the United States, I think in Florida, was like a seminar, a workshop in Florida, and was a basic handgun workshop, defensive basic handgun. And at one point, I see one guy arrive with a big troll, a big rugged case, and he was dressing super tactical like a camel. And I thought that was not a student of mine, because I said it's a basic handgun defensive, so was really blue jeans, shirt or whatever,
Hmm.
easy, right? And he started to take out all the equipment, plate carrier, helmet, and
Oh
rifle. When
wow.
rifle, I asked to one of the other instructors that was I said, tell to the guy that is in the wrong bay, probably he doesn't know that there is a course here. And the instructor came back and said, it's one of your students. What? One of my students dressed like this? I went to him and said, listen, which is the part that you miss in basic handgun workshop? Why you have a rifle? Or why you are dressed in an high profile? That is a basic handgun. Are you military? And say, no, I'm a civilian. So why you are like this in this kind of course? Why you need to dress like someone else?
Mhm.
Or it's become like a costume. You like it's
Yeah.
carnival, right? But you need to learn the technique. You need to learn the basement. You need to learn the base, the fundamentals of shooting before you want to be a ninja. Try to before you want to run very fast. First, you need to start to learn how
Learning
to.
how to walk.
Yeah,
I love it. Yep.
that's important, right? Doug, which are the news for you 2021? What we have, how we. So first of all, everybody knows here because probably they follow you really more than me. So everybody knows you here. But so you're still in Forge and Fire. You have a new season. You are filming, and 2021, a lot of news in that.
Um, well, I'm an ambassador of 511 now, and with them, I
Oh,
created the Talon. So that's my design with 511 for the fixed blade, which is with 511 this year, and you also have the small version of that, which is the folder version. And if you're gonna, and we talked about this, if you're gonna have and carry the same thing, have the same version of it that's a trainer. So that's what I'm doing with 511 this year. And of course, remember when we first met the Blade Show, the Dart, it's still, one of the best blades for me out there. So we're coming out with a collector's edition now, which is going to be 4 different colors of the Dart Special Edition. Basically, it's the same Dart, it's got an XT, but we're putting my tattoo that I have here onto the blade.
super cool, super
A lot
cool.
of people wanted to make something, they become collectors. So that's one of the things that they said, if I can, then let's try it this year. So that's what I've done for it.
And it's already it's available on the market. It's
In a couple of months, in about a month or two, this is going to be out. The one with 511, that was available last year. They sold out. So we're waiting for the next shipment to come out. I don't know how they sold out so fast, but they did. So that's what I'm
so
doing for that.
great
Of course,
collaboration
aside from
with
that,
511. Great collaboration with 511. I'm very happy about that. The guys are cool guys, cool company, and so I can't wait to see on the market your knife, your project,
mhm.
and
And catch Forge and Fire season 8. I can't believe this season 8 will be sometime within season 8. We're gonna hit our 200th episode. I can't believe that's why I can't do workshops or something. We're constantly filming and filming and filming, but
unbelievable. The
it's
time.
it's a worldwide show that reaches all cultures. I can't wait. I've got to visit Italy because I got to go to Maniago, and just I'm hoping for a Fortune Fire Europe. I want the Fortune so bad, because a lot of our weapons from history are based on European knife styles. From
Sure.
the Italians, we've done so. The Cicudea. We did a lot of Italian blades also, but I'm hoping that Europe will have their own version. Latin America already did. Brazil and Latin America has their own Fortune Fire. The U.S. has their. Sweden just did a Fortune Sweden, something different. But I'm waiting. Now it's a global show. It's everywhere. It's South Africa, it's Czechoslovakia, all around the globe. But I'm hoping that we have Forging Fire in different regions of the world for their own shows, because every culture has their own way of doing things.
Yeah.
You know, the
Very
bladesmiths from Latin America are totally different than the bladesmiths from the US. They have different ways, different mentality of how to do things compared to how the Westerners do it. So international world of blade making is like throughout history, all of us have done it, and we have all different ways, but it's all the same passion, though.
No, I am totally agree, and it's man, the time is run so fast.
Yeah.
200. It seemed like yesterday we were in Canada,
Yeah, that
and
flew.
are already past the 10 years, man. And
My gosh.
we're still here. We still hold the
Well, I
bar.
enjoy watching because I follow you on Facebook and
I follow
Instagram.
you as well.
So
But
I love to see what you're
first
doing,
person
because
to have a dinner again together.
it
Uh,
should happen again. I suggest that this stack week should not be once in a blue moon. You should maybe do quarterly, or do it again, because
yeah,
there's there's so much we have to talk about. Like, this is just a
yeah,
warm up.
sure.
This is a
Yeah,
warm up. I wanted to ask you all these questions, but this is a warm up. But if it's well received, I think you should do more of it, especially during the lockdown situation. This is how we can get in touch with you. You should do more.
but we don't need that quick to talk. We can. I want
No.
to write to you more often. Whatever you want. This is my house. The doors are always open for you. More than happy, and I think it could be really interesting even for the audience. If you check the comments, you can understand immediately how people are happy uh, when we arrive again, sharing information from two different worlds that they
Yes.
work with, that are based on some principles that are common principles.
I would love to do this again
Yeah,
soon.
100%.
Let's not wait another 5 years to
No, no,
get back
no.
to talking again.
We can do next week if you want. Whatever you want.
Absolutely.
Whenever you have time, let me know.
Yep.
I'm talking here, so it's more for you because you're still filming than for me. That I'm going to now from tomorrow is my training season starts. So because I finished the event, months of filming, editing,
Hmm.
all the
Wow.
stuff required me a lot of job. So I'm going to take probably a couple of days of of,
Rest. Yes.
of
Well,
rest.
to the audience and followers here, after this and continuing after the replays of this, you've got questions for me and Z that we didn't cover, and I know we didn't cover a lot of that. I can even see questions come up. But
Yeah,
something that we could do again for the next time we have is go through a question and answer, a Q&A with
yeah.
Doug and Instructor Zero, so we can go through it and we can answer based on
Yeah,
that.
let's
Yes, I
do
would
it.
love to do that.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's organize. Even if I don't know how you are doing, guys. Are you listening? What is going to happen here? Back again together. Me and Doug talking about life, daily life first,
Yeah.
and training and. Uh, whenever you are you have a couple of hours free or 1 hour free like now because
I
it's already past
definitely
one
will.
hour.
Yeah, so everybody give Z a whole week to relax and recuperate, recharge,
Yeah,
but put all your questions in and we'll revisit it. I
yeah.
think this is our gift to all of you who are, while we're locked down, it doesn't mean
I
that
mean,
life stops. We continue
yeah,
growing.
100%. We are going to keep in touch and we are going to ask the next. We are answering to questions, creating new topics, and like a gun versus knife in the web
Yes, the cyber life of this.
from two different continents, right? So
Yeah,
this, yes, I think, guys. Yeah, what do you think, guys? Hoping you can work with Zero this year from some training you get. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Brad. Uh, a lot of questions after I'm going to answer to see all the stuff. Doug, thank you very much, my friend.
my pleasure. Z, abrazo, big hug to you, the family,
Me
regards to
too. Hope
everybody.
I can give you the big hug in first person. I want really to have you again in Italy or to see you in the United States
Absolutely,
to stay for dinner. Has the old good times where we discussing, eating,
absolutely. God
testing
willing,
food,
God
testing
willing.
beers. Yeah, man, I really miss
Right.
that time.
Thank
So
you.
thank
And to
you.
everybody, thank you for tuning in.
Hey, I'm going to take. It's a promise, right?
Absolutely. All right.
Okay.
So we'll keep in touch after this, so you can go through the question. Whatever we'll plan. We'll
Yeah.
guys, don't forget, keep an eye out on Z's page. We're gonna do this again, and this
Yeah.
time we'll try to answer your questions.
Yeah, yeah, we can split your page, my page, doesn't matter where we are going to do
Yeah,
that. The important thing is we do.
it
Don't
was a
leave the
lot of
chat.
fun.
I'm going to close the live, but so we can set between me and you.
Yes.
This is one of
Okay.
the coolest and unspectacular matchup. Thank you, Gordon. That's you see that's is the way. Thank you, guys. I'm going.
Ciao, everyone.
I'm going to talk with Doug, setting the next one. Big hug to everybody. Love you all.